Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're taking a look at a video from Screen Crush called #ProudToBe, Why Hollywood Needs Trans Actors. Let's check it out.
Dear Hollywood.
Hey, it's us.
Trans, gender nonconforming, and non-binary people.
We need to talk.
We've needed to talk for a long time.
Are you sure it's been that long? Because it's June 2017, current year, and people on the internet won't shut the hell up about transgenders nowadays. Hell, Caitlyn Jenner came out 2 fucking years ago, and we still haven't heard the end of it. In fact, Caitlyn even won Woman of the Year. That's right, even men are better at being women than women are. But I digress. But with all this hoopla and transgenders all over the TV and internet, I think they're pretty well represented, especially for a group that's only 0.5% of the country. Yeah, I think transgenders are talked about plenty. Too much, probably.
Why are you so obsessed with us?
I mean, I get it. We are fascinating.
But you know we're real people, right?
We're not all serial killers and hookers.
And even if we were, we could be like, Dexter, a pretty woman.
But we're also lawyers, doctors, and teachers.
And actors.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call straw man here right off the bat. No one thinks transgenders are not real people. No one is saying they're all deviants and murderers, although some are. So, Screen Crush, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
For many young or closeted trans people, film and television is the first or only time that they see themselves.
In 2015, guess how many trans characters appeared in major studio films?
1.
And she was just something to laugh at.
Well, I'm not sure what you guys mean by major studio films. That's a little vague, but I'm gonna guess you mean the biggest and most popular studio films. Now, depending on how many films they considered and how many parts were in those films, having one transgender in there could be totally normal. Again, transgenders are only 0.5% of the population. So that means if these parts were representing our society, which is what movies do, well, that means there would be realistically only one trans person for every 200 movie roles. And that sounds pretty fair to me, but I know this video we're watching is all pro-LGBT, liberal propaganda, and all that bullshit. So that's why they're implying that one trans role is horribly underrepresenting them, even though it's not.
In the same year, only 16% of Americans knew a trans person.
The remaining 84%
You learn about us the same way we do.
We're mocked,
Our bodies are shamed.
were made into villains.
reduced to plot twists, and punchlines.
We're even erased from our own history.
Imagine if this is all you saw of yourself.
It's no wonder you're scared of us.
No, we're scared of you because most trans people look like creepy imitations of the gender they're transitioning to. I'm sorry to be harsh here, but like 90% of trans people I've seen, they don't look that appealing. And they definitely don't look like these well-done, gender-passing trans people in this video. They clearly cherry-picked the best ones they could find for this. And even when doing that, they still included people like this and this. Just disgusting. Now back to these movies they mentioned, which are ones that actually do have trans people, but they still complain about it because it's never good enough. These special snowflakes are so sensitive, you can't even make one tranny joke. This just proves to me that these types of people, these people that want affirmative action things like trans people in the movies, PC liberals like this will never be happy. First they say it's not enough parts, then they say it's not the right parts. Hell, they'd make every goddamn person in the whole movie industry trans, if they had their way.
When there is a positive trans character on screen, who gets the part?
Not us!
Why you gotta play us like that?
It seems like an awful lot of the good parts were played by white, cis men.
You noticed that too?
In case you were wondering if these douches were SJWs or not, here's the definition of cisgender. They're a made-up word to try and put down straight people. We are literally in an age where being straight or even white, that's gonna get you shunned.
Hey, we're not saying cis people can't play trans parts. Just that right now, in this culture, there are consequences.
Bad ones.
So you are saying cis people can't play trans. I guess now these guys can check off being a hypocrite on their SJW to-do list.
Especially for trans women who are often killed by straight male partners.
Who fear that it's somehow less straight to be with them.
Wait a second there. What? What the fuck does that mean? Let me get this straight. Puns. Okay. So, straight people can't play trans characters because there's bad consequences, like trans women who often get killed by their straight male partners. What? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Trans women getting killed by their partners is not because straight people are playing trans people on TV. You fucking idiots. This is so goddamn ridiculous. If trans women are getting killed by their partners at alarming rates, I would say it might be their fault for picking horrible people to date. I mean, people don't just become murderers out of nowhere. There's usually a few signs leading up to it. So no, this is just silly. The only consequence of a straight person playing trans is that that role didn't go to someone else. And clearly these trannies want the part to go to them. That's the real qualm here. These creepers are begging for work, and they have the balls, or no balls, I'm really not sure, I guess it depends. Well, they have the metaphorical balls to say that if you don't cast more trans people, well, then people are going to get murdered. What a despicable and exploitive strategy. No wonder Screen Crush disabled their comment section. This is embarrassing.
A belief that is created and maintained in no small part by men playing us.
But when you see a trans woman off screen, she is still a woman.
This is not a costume.
And yet, I have lost parts written for trans women to men because I don't look trans enough.
Or maybe you lost the parts because, and I can air quote too, maybe it's because you can't act well enough. I think that's the real reason these actors can't get work. They're all a bunch of ugly, weird-looking fucks who can't act their way out of a paper bag. But instead of trying to act better or maybe admitting their faults and having some humility, no, these trannies are going to blame their lack of talent and work on racism. Or wait, sexism. No, try again. It's because everyone's transphobic, I guess. That's the ticket.
Me too.
When cis people play trans parts, they're focused on playing trans.
When we play a trans role, we play the character.
The story.
which makes for a better performance.
No, it doesn't. Just because you're trans doesn't mean your performance as a trans character is any better. I mean, sure, you could have lots of insight and you know personally how to act trans, but there's plenty of professional actors who can act trans too, and they can get better performances. This is like saying a real cop should be playing a cop character on a TV show because it will make a better performance. Except Eddie Murphy was never a cop and he successfully helmed the Beverly Hills Cop franchise, and Bruce Willis played a cop in the legendary Die Hard series, but for some stupid reason, according to this tranny logic, a real cop would have been better in these movies because reasons.
And look, we know the arguments.
There aren't any big trans names.
Y'all need to put us in small parts.
Nurse 3, totally in my range.
We can play aliens.
Wizards.
Vulcans. I want to be a Jedi.
This is my favorite part of all. I love how they start listing movie roles they want one day. Like they're these little kids picking out Halloween costumes. Or more accurately, they're actors picking out some of the biggest and most profitable parts in the business. Which of course they want. Who wouldn't want to be a Jedi and make millions of dollars? And that's why it's so hard to get a part in a movie like Star Wars. Literally millions of people are vying for those parts. The Jedis, Vulcans, and Wizards are hot commodities. And that's the real reason why there aren't many trans people in these parts, because there just aren't that many trans people. It's not because people are sexist or transphobic or whatever. It's just simple fucking math and probability. There's around 1 million trans people in America, which has a population of over 300 million. That's how we get the 0.5% that are trans. And you can assume that 0.5% of actors are trans too, when you add it all up. So that means it makes absolute sense why there aren't many trans Jedis, because there's way more straight people to compete for the parts. It's like these trannies are just ignoring the numbers and the reality of the situation, and they're just saying everyone's transphobic, so they can virtue signal and try to squeeze themselves into Star Wars movies. Fucking pathetic.
Then we can graduate to those recurring roles, and eventually those coveted leads.
Work, Laverne.
How about just anything that isn't a coming out story?
Oh my God, what's the obsession with transition?
Imagine if all the movies in the theater were coming-of-age stories.
That's what it's like for us.
Again, they're really pushing it. First, it's not enough parts. Then it's not the right parts. Next, it will be they want 25% of the parts played by trans. Then it's 50. Hell, they'll go all the way to 100 if you let them. These guys are like fucking Nazis, I swear to God. And forgive me for using the SJW reference here, but they're like Nazis because if you give them an inch, they take a mile. Then they invade Poland and bomb England. I've seen it 100 times.
This is why it's not enough just to have trans actors.
We need trans writers,
Producers.
And directors.
Craft services.
Really, girl?
What? I eat a lot.
You see? Let's make everyone trans, guys. Because reasons.
you have the power to educate.
To change minds
shape public opinion,
and open hearts.
There it is. They said educate yourselves, guys. You can't forget that SJW buzzword.
So we need you to show us.
As we really are.
Well, ironically, you really are a man. It's a man, baby.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
Tell our stories with the creativity,
Dignity.
Humor and depth.
That make us real people.
Let us help you tell those stories.
Or better yet, help us tell them ourselves.
And then put us in them.
And in everything else.
in all kinds of parts.
Yes, you'll be giving us a job.
God damn, this is so cringy. Can you imagine if another group tried to do this shit? Like, hey guys, make us rich. Cast us in parts we didn't earn or deserve. This is just a big cash grab for them. They don't give a shit about trans rights. They're just using their trans shit to get popularity and fame. It's sad. I bet half these losers are trans trenders, just jumping onto the bandwagon.
And I thank you for that.
But you'll also be making the world a little bit safer.
For an intensely maligned,
underrepresented,
and vulnerable population.
So you can feel good about that.
I love how they keep trying to make this about safety too. No, it's not about these actors wanting money and fame. It's about safety, guys. Because they are saying if you don't hire them, more trannies will get killed by their psycho boyfriends. What? Like, what the fuck? How does that make sense? In what world am I living in?
And you'll love having us on set.
We have the best stories.
That's funny because by the looks of these two monsters, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near them, let alone work with them intimately on a movie production. I mean, seriously, they say they're not getting hired because they're trannies. Well, I say it's because you're old, ugly, gross, and annoying, quite frankly. And I do not want to hear your stories. Ugh, Jesus. Just thinking of all the weird shit you've done is gonna give me nightmares.
bottom line,
When you include us at every stage of the process,
It makes the work better.
It's a win-win.
So Hollywood,
We're here, and we are so ready.
Yeah, I think you're a little too ready. This video just screams desperation to me. I mean, they actually said people will die if you don't hire trans people. Does it really get any more desperate than that? In the end, this was a trans video made by trans people begging for work. Anything else they said was just secondary to support that goal. They don't really care about trans people, trans rights, or their representation in film. That's all just their bullshit excuses for them trying to get rich and popular in Hollywood. If they really cared about trans rights and public perceptions, it really wouldn't matter who played the trans roles. Straight people can play trans just as well as trans people. What really matters is the actor's abilities in the script, not their orientation. So seeing these trans peoples attack that is quite sad. If they really cared about their community, they would support the writing and filming of trans characters any way they can. But clearly that's not what they care about. They care about their own selfish interests. They're just masking those selfish goals with this faux LGBT rights shit. Before we go, I think I need to address one other elephant in the room. And I'm not talking about that penis this dude is probably tucking away in those pants. No, I want to talk about why straight people are cast as trans characters. Real quick. Now, I know this is mostly about hiring someone who's more famous to make the movie popular, but I also want to broach the idea that maybe straight people are just better actors in general. I mean, you could certainly make a case for that. With all the history in current and old Hollywood, there's been next to zero famous trans actors. Now, I know people will say it's because of transphobia and straight people bringing them down, but I think there also may be a lack of skill here people are afraid to mention. And the last thing I'll say here may be a little controversial, but give me a chance. Maybe straight people are better actors because they were born in the right bodies. Their brains aren't fucked up and born in the wrong ones, like with trans people. Now, I don't know if that is the case, but it makes sense to me. It makes sense that someone with a properly working brain in the right body, they may be better suited to act and perform with that body. Trans people, on the other hand, have to cut their balls off and get breast implants and then put on a fake femme voice, just in order to feel normal. I don't know if this is the reason, but I think we might be onto something. What do you guys think? Are transgenders underrepresented in film and TV? Are these guys in the video in it to help their community, or just to help themselves? Comment below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time. And don't forget, this show is funded and supported by viewers like you. Like, comment, and subscribe for new videos every week. Hit that bell button below to get email notifications of our new uploads. We also have merchandise such as shirts, sweaters, stickers, and coffee mugs in our Teespring store. Join our Patreon to support monthly for as low as $1. You can get bonus videos and all kinds of cool stuff. There's also Amazon affiliate links and all of our other links in the description below. Thanks again for watching and supporting. Love you guys. See y'all next time.
One thing I can tell you is you got to be free. Come together right now over me.
One more thing, I want to give a special thanks to these amazing Patreon supporters. You guys are the best. You guys went above and beyond the rest, and I love you so much for it. If anyone else wants to donate or join our Patreon crew, link in the description. We're going to be setting up more videos and live streams very soon. Thanks again.